welcome to the Deep Dive. So today we've got a pretty unusual stack of source material. We're pulling from the mindset of NBA legend Kobe Bryant, the tactics of mentalists like Darren Brown, and then all the way over to academic research on nonverbal communication.
It's a fascinating synthesis, isn't it? We have quotes on the Mamba mentality, but also research on things like, proxemics and kinesics.
And psychological studies on control versus real rapport.
Right, and frameworks for what makes the relationship last. It's quite a mix.
What's the common thread here? What do Kobe Bryant, a stage illusionist, and trying to have a successful first date, what do they all have in common?
Well, it really comes down to the mastery of subtle moves and intentional influence.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack this to give you the tools to see the difference between a genuine connection, something built on a shared reality,
and calculated control, the kind that's built on psychological misdirection. You need to understand the playbook to avoid being played.
Whether that's on a basketball court or, in life.
Exactly. We're looking at how that disciplined, intentional mastery, the kind that makes an elite athlete, can be used ethically. And then we're going to contrast that really sharply with manipulation, with psychological tricks. And we have to start with that code of personal power.
Okay, let's start there. Let's begin with Kobe Bryant's Mamba mentality. What's so critical to understand, and our sources really emphasize this, is that he created this. The Black Mamba was an alter ego he built around 2003, 2004.
Right, when he was at a low point.
A really difficult time in his career and personal life. So this wasn't just natural talent, it was an engineered mindset.
It was an archetype, a system he designed for victory. And those principles, they translate to mastery in basically any field. You can see the core pillars immediately. First, there's obsession.
Which means what, exactly?
It's breaking down the big picture into repeatable, measurable, micro-level steps. And second, there's relentlessness.
Never settling for good enough.
Never. Always pushing past what you think your limits are. It's the difference between doing the reps and doing the right reps, and then coming back tomorrow and doing them all over again.
Okay, what else?
The final pillars are resiliency, seeing failure as feedback, not an endpoint, and fearlessness. So having the courage to embrace a challenge and, ignore that paralyzing fear of failure, it's total commitment.
But here's where I want to push on this a bit. The Mamba mentality is aggressive. It's about crushing the competition, a win-at-all-costs mindset. So if that's our source of mastery, how do we apply that ethically to a partnership, where the goal isn't conquest, it's, cooperation?
That is the right question. And the application isn't about using that mentality against your partner. It's about applying that same intentionality to the partnership. You shift from crushing the competition to mastering yourself and mastering the dynamic.
Okay.
Think about Kobe's signature move, the fadeaway jump shot. It's all quick pivots, fakes, kicking the leg out, all to create separation, to maximize space so you can be accurate. It's an aggressive move, but its goal is to buy space.
So the Mamba mentality is the drive, and the fadeaway is the tactic for creating space.
And that translates directly into social dynamics as the proxemic emotional fadeaway. So proxemics is just the study of how space and distance influence communication.
Right.
Imagine you're in a high intimacy moment, a shared laugh, a deep compliment, maybe a moment of vulnerability. If you immediately physically just recede a little, lean back, maybe, or even just lower your vocal intensity, you create what we call exit space.
Can you give us an example, like on a first date? How does that actually work?
Okay, so you're having a great conversation. You offer a genuine, heartfelt compliment, and it lands really well. Instead of leaning in to capitalize on that intimacy,
Which is what most people would do.
exactly. Instead, you might just casually take a sip of water or lean back in your chair for a second. That tiny moment of pulling back stops the other person from feeling overwhelmed or, cornered by this sudden high expectation. It makes the next intimate move, whether that's them holding eye contact or continuing the conversation. It makes it feel like their choice, not a reaction to you.
It leverages their autonomy.
It leverages their autonomy to build genuine rapport. It's a kind of fluidity. It's a lot like Bruce Lee's philosophy, actually. He always encouraged creating your own flexible system, your own Jeet Kune Do, instead of being trapped in a fixed script.
That idea of fluidity is key, because now we're moving into that subtle, almost invisible area of communication, body language. If you want mastery here, you have to master the eye game, the posture game, the space game.
You do. Nonverbal cues are just critical for setting the tone, and if you're tuned in, you can tell right away if an interaction is flowing or if it feels stiff.
You mentioned proxemics, the distance we keep. What about are the movements themselves?
That's kinesics, the study of body movements. And posture is a huge signal. Leaning forward shows interest. Sitting back, especially with your hands behind your head, that often signals indifference. Or maybe informality. Even where you put your elbows can tell a story.
And there's the eyes.
Oculesics. The face and eyes are the main focus because psychologically that's where we think the other person is located. And our sources point out there are 7 universal facial expressions. Happiness, sadness, fear, the list, that cross every cultural boundary.
So let's get practical. We're trying to build a genuine connection.
Yeah.
How do we spot the real signals and separate them from the tells of someone just putting on a performance?
You have to look for signals that are almost impossible to fake consciously. The Duchenne smile is a classic example. A real smile, it engages the muscle around your eyes, it gives you those little crinkles, crow's feet. A fake smile is often just the mouth.
What's another?
Subtle mirroring. It's where you subconsciously start to match the other person's posture or their rhythm of speaking. It's a powerful sign that you're in sync, that you're in flow.
And what's the one signal for full, undivided attention?
We call it the belly button rule. If you orient your torso and your feet directly toward a person, it signals total presence. It makes them feel heard. If their body is aimed at the door or their feet are pointed away, that's a tell. They're distracted or maybe ready to leave.
Okay, what are the biggest tells that someone is just running a script or that they're just not there with you?
Look for micro expressions. They're these incredibly fast facial movements, like a 25th of a second, that betray a person's real feeling before they can mask it. Also, inconsistent behavior. If they're nodding like a bobblehead at everything you say, or laughing just a little too hard at things that aren't that funny.
It's an automatic social response.
It's an automatic social response, not genuine engagement. And if we want to apply that Jeet Kune Do fluidity ourselves, how do we make our own actions, like using humor or showing affection? How do we make them feel natural?
Through non-telegraphing action. That's the principle. If you're going to tell a joke, it should feel seamless. The best humor on a date flows naturally from what's happening now. If your body language stiffens up right before you deliver the punchline, you've telegraphed it, you've signaled that a performance is coming, and it just kills the connection. The action has to seem effortless.
And this mastery of subtlety brings us right to that critical line in the sand. The difference between ethical influence and, outright manipulation.
This boundary really defines the whole ethical question of what we're talking about.
It does. So influence is neutral. It's a capacity. It's helping someone see why taking an action is in their best shared interest. Manipulation, on the other hand, is a covert, self-serving attempt to control people in a way that subverts their own free will.
And the classic example in dating is love bombing. It uses the very signals we just talked about, but it turns the volume up to 11. Way too fast.
Exactly. Love bombing is designed to gain rapid control. It overwhelms someone with excessive affection, excessive attention, and it demands constant reciprocation, almost immediately. It's that super intense, super specific praise that comes way too early.
And that intensity creates an unrealistic expectation, a dependency.
Right. Unlike genuine affection, which grows organically, it's steady, it nurtures the relationship without all that immediate pressure, and the sources are clear. Consistency is the key countermeasure here.
If you see someone compartmentalizing their life, showing totally different personalities and different social circles,
The charming public figure who's a demanding private partner,
that inconsistency is a huge red flag. It points to a lack of a genuine self. Authentic people are consistent. Manipulators build facades for specific audiences.
and we can look at this through the lens of mentalism. Illusionists like Darren Brown, they use psychological suggestion, memory tricks, all to create the illusion of mind reading. They are master influencers, but for entertainment.
So how does their technique mirror what manipulators do?
The core mechanism is misdirection, the art of controlling the audience's attention to hide the secret. In social terms, it's hiding the hidden agenda. Mentalists use expectation manipulation. They throw your attention toward a perceived exit, making you focus on the wrong details so the real influence stays invisible.
Can you give us an example of that off the stage in a relationship?
Sure. Think about a classic avoidance technique. Someone might bring up some huge, irrelevant drama or a problem from years ago, right when the conversation gets to a topic you want to avoid, like a commitment or a boundary.
They're misdirecting.
They're misdirecting your emotional energy away from the real point of leverage. And this is where we see the dark triad traits show up in the research narcissism, Machiavellianism. Narcissists often use tactics specifically to avoid commitment, and it's driven by their perception that they have lots of other attractive options.
So that brings us to the ultimate question. If mastery is about intention, and manipulation is intentional control, how do we pivot and apply that mastery to build something resilient? Something where both people feel safe. This is, I think, true relational craftsmanship.
It all starts with the counter tactic to manipulation, which is active listening. Active listening creates that safe, non-judgmental space you need for a genuine connection. And the first principle is to operate with curiosity, not judgment.
It's so hard to do. My first instinct, like most people's, is to jump in and solve the problem, offer the fix.
And that instinct is almost always counterproductive to connection. Another key is validation. You can't be dismissive and say, that doesn't sound like a big deal, or you shouldn't feel that way. You have to acknowledge the emotion. It sounds like you're truly frustrated by that. It helps the other person feel like their reaction is rational.
And you have to avoid thinking about yourself, even when you relate to.
Absolutely. You have to actively avoid deflection. Don't interrupt them just to say, oh, that reminds me of when I... That just steals the focus. And finally, patience. Don't rush the speaker. Even if you think you know where the story is going, let them own their narrative.
Our sources also talk about systems for leveraging the natural differences between people. This can take so much drama out of daily decisions because we tend to argue when we apply the same template to everything.
We do. Instead, you have to recognize and use those differences. So for example, if one partner is the analytical type who needs to research every detail, let them lead the information gathering for a trip. The other partner, maybe the more decisive one, can then make the final choice from that curated list. Both people are using their strengths.
And there's also the structured approach of the 51-49 lead split.
Right. This is a system where you designate specific domains where one person takes the clear lead. So one partner might be the 51% decision maker on finances, while the other is the 51% decision maker on household renovations. It just removes that constant friction over small stuff.
And for building connection, the sources are clear. The best activities promote genuine communication. A cooking class, a board game cafe, a new shared hobby like pottery. Places where that natural synchrony can just happen.
So whether you're mastering a jump shot or navigating a relationship, success really relies on a radical intentionality, constant practice. But the mastery of influence always has to be balanced by the goal of authentic connection. That means prioritizing mutual safety and autonomy over your own personal control.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? We've gone from the relentless pursuit of mastery to the subtleties of nonverbal synchrony and even the dark side of manipulation. The thing is, we often define ourselves by traits that served us really well when we were single. Our independence, our personal routines. When you commit to a shared space, the relationship itself starts to desire different things from you. Sometimes counterintuitive things.
And that's the final thought we want to leave you with. Start to view your relationship as a third entity, a separate living thing with its own needs that exist outside of your individual ones.
So ask yourself today, what does our relationship need to thrive right now? And do my current preferences or my actions, do they truly serve that need? If you use the Mamba mentality to answer that question with obsession, relentlessness, and fearlessness, that is how relational mastery begins. Implement just one principle we talked about today and start that deep work now.